world is not a safe space, and we survive by learning to make our own safe spaces. So if we as young people have universities creating safe spaces for us, how will we ever learn to carve out our own safe space in the world?
Let's take that question to Ash Bhagwat.
Thank you. Great question.
I think the answer is simple. It's the same thing. I mean, the problem is you have a home that you can retreat to. These students do not, and so they need, because they are surrounded by the university at all times, if the university says no, you're out of luck. What are you going to do? It's a special circumstance. Campuses are strange creatures because they are a mixture of many, many, many different things. And to treat them as a sort of a whole, as if they're sort of generic, I think is wrong. University, in my view, has an absolute right to help students create safe spaces of the sort that when they are adults off campus and have control over their lives more, they will do for themselves. But the university should not make the entire campus a safe space. No one is talking about suppressing ideas.
Response from the other side?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a bit of a confused argument, because if it's their home 24/7, you know, and they need safety to be able to inhabit that home, you know, then inevitably that brings up the role of the institution in generating that safety, which I think you agree with. So it's not just a matter of what happens, you know, when the four of us gather in a room together or a club meets. It's really a larger question of what happens on campus. And I think this term safety, which with its malleability and nebulousness that we've talked about, one person's safety being dangerous for another person, the kinds of criticisms and attacks and perhaps undermining of emotional safety that can happen even in a closed space, just makes this term very problematic. And it leads to what you're talking about, which is a sense on the part of the institution that they need to step in, that students can't navigate this for themselves, that they have to come in, and inevitably, you know, they're coming in to suppress speech. I mean, and the concern of safety is being pitted against speech, and it opens the door to censorship. So that's why this term can be dangerous. We don't have to prove it's inherently dangerous. We just have to prove that it can be dangerous.
Michael Roth.
Yeah, lots of things can be dangerous. That is true. I do think we have to remember that these students are well aware that when they graduate, they'll have to make their own spaces. They're well aware that in the United States today, that they will be entering in a world where they'll be much less likely to interact with people who don't share their views. They'll be entering a world of much more intensive inequality than any previous generation has seen for at least 100 years. They'll be entering a world of much greater segregation than we've seen in a long, long time in the United States. They're well aware of the hostility of the world. And so it seems to me that in a learning environment, you're not censoring ideas, you're trying to give people the power to consider ideas that are radical for them, that challenge their presuppositions, but they do so while feeling they are full members of a university community.